Zimbabweans are set to go to the polls in July. This will be the first democratic election following Robert Mugabe's fall from power. Spokesperson for Zanu-PF in South Africa, Kennedy Mandaza, joins us now. Good evening, sir. Thanks very much for coming through. Now, only a day ago, we saw top-of-the-range cars fitted with loudspeakers being paraded. So Zanu-PF clearly means business this time around.
Good evening and thank you. Zanu-PF really means business. And we are confident that the rebranding process that we are going through will gel in with the generality of the people. And like what the president has been saying, it is time that we, in the new dispensation, show the seriousness that the party has to make sure that it galvanizes all the structures so that once we get to the election time, we will be able to win resoundingly and ensure that we put to rest this myth and talk that surrounds the coming on of the president on the throne. And that's why we feel we need to show it to the people that it was not by any mistake.
Well, the critics have, of course, been quick to lash out, saying you are happy to spend more than $70 million on campaign material while the country has hospitals that are not functioning properly, broken down ambulances, the education system is not up to scratch. How do you justify spending such amounts of money on campaign material?
I think what we need to understand is that the Zanu-PF is a political party, and which happens to be the ruling party. We have also the government, which is responsible for all these other things that people are talking about. As a party, Zanu-PF has a responsibility to make sure that they come up with things that they think will add value to the political party, as it were. And being a revolutionary party, we need to make sure that we move with the times. So when we get contributions from our well-wishers, when we get funds from the membership fees, that should be put into making sure that the party is strong and it has all the facilities that they are supposed to have. The government has its responsibility, and the responsibility of the government is to make sure that all these things that the people talk about are attended to. And unfortunately, it is government, it is Zanu-PF which is in power, and they've been busy working on making sure that they revitalize all the systems that people are alleging, or those structures that have broken down. And we are hoping that within the next few years, we'll be back on track.
Now, your party, the Politburo more specifically, recently adopted your election manifesto. Surely, before you got there, you had to do an analysis, of the state of affairs within your country, what went wrong, at what point in time. How much responsibility does Zanu-PF take for having gone through or having taken a country that was once the breadbasket of the continent to what it is now?
The president, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa, has said that Zimbabwe is 18 years backward. That in its own is an admission that there are certain things that we have not done.
What are those things?
And some of these things is the fact that our economy has gone down. And there are quite a number of reasons why our economy has gone down, one of which is the issue of sanctions, which are real. And the other thing is the fact that we have had perennial droughts, which have affected the agricultural system, because Zimbabwe's economy has been based on agriculture. But having said that, the land reform process that we undertook, which was not well received by those that owned the land, was part of the reason why we went so much down in terms of the economics of the country. But having said that, there are also quite a number of other things that we have done so well as a party in government. And those things we should get the credit for having done that. Part of it is the education system. Even at some point, our health system had remained so strong, and we have also made sure that we have systems that are in place that will ensure people continue to be in Zimbabwe, like we have seen for over quite the past few years.
Well, everyone gives you credit for education, but are you not prepared to even single out one or two things that are of your own making? In other words, bad decisions or bad leadership, whatever might be the case. Are you not prepared to concede at all that some wrongs were committed?
I think we have partly conceded by saying that it is 18 years backward. It means it's an admission on our part.
But what did
specifically,
what did you do wrong? That which you are prepared to say today, there we made a fundamental error, or there we were just wrong.
I wouldn't say we made a fundamental error, but there is an admission on our part that some of the policies that we were putting in place could have prevented the investors coming into the country, one of which was the 51-49% policy, which we have looked at right now to make sure that we come up with a policy that invites investors in the country. But at the time when the 51-49% policy was put in place, it was necessary because we wanted to make sure that we protect our own economy, we protect the resources, and let us not forget that most of our resources are the resources that have made the so-called rich nations become what they are today. And we should get to a point where we should say, let us use our own resources. And we must be jealous and guard so jealously with our resources. The land reform, having policies that seek to protect our own resources from the plunder that they've gone through over many years, in order that at a particular point we should begin to craft our own destiny as Africans and make sure that we come up with an economy that will serve the interests of our youth, that will serve the interests of the economy in general. And I believe we are moving towards that.
Well, if you're not prepared to concede, then it means President Robert Mugabe did very well, thank you very much, and then there was no reason for you to remove him then.
President Mugabe remains our hero. He remains our hero, the hero of the country. And President Mnangagwa has said that he is his father, his mentor. We still continue to accord him the respect that he deserves. It became necessary for the party to change the system in order to get to a new dispensation which we have. And when we did that, there were quite a number of things that us in Zanu-PF had seen that were not moving in the right direction, particularly when it came to the discourse and the narrative that had been brought by those that were in the G40 cabal. And we felt that we needed to remove those that had surrounded the president in order to restore his legacy and move forward. So by making sure that we protect him, we also made an effort to make sure that he gets the rest that is so much deserved after having worked so much to bring the country to where it is, besides the challenges that we have had also during that time.
Well, let's rest it there. Thank you very much, Mr. Mandaza, for coming through.
Welcome.
He is, of course, the spokesperson of Zanu-PF here in South Africa.